So who are we looking at to fill in the spaces left behind in North End's squad? And will they be good enough to push us further up the table and live up to Ryan Lowe's expectations? Are we mainly going to focus on loans, free transfers, or spending a bit of cash to get in the fresh talent at North End? Well, I'm going to take a look at some of the realistic transfers we've been linked with, as well as suggesting some of my own that I think might be excellent in those positions. Sorry in advance for some of the awful pronunciation of these lads' names. Starting with the goalkeeper, we do have a few choices. We've recently been linked with Man City goalkeeper Gavin Bazunu. He's 22, he was on loan at Portsmouth last season, starting 44 matches. While he was there, his stats were pretty good, with a really good save percentage. He even managed to bag 1 assist. I'm not sure we'd be able to shell out for him, especially with Prem teams interested. However, maybe, just maybe, we can get a sneaky loan if Ryan Lowe plays some of that charm that he has. Can Pep Guardiola be charmed? Moving in the other direction of the English pyramid, we've been linked with Hull City goalkeeper Matt Ingram. He's just recently been on an emergency loan at Luton, and he played in the playoffs. Before that, he had 29 starts for Hull, as well as being part of their League One Championship team the season before. 28, and his stats are quite good in terms of saves. He also has a wealth of experience in the Championship and League One, and when he was with Hull, he had the same save percentage as Bazunu. He could certainly do a job for us. He's got the experience on his CV, but it doesn't really excite me. Moving on, we've got out of contract Derby goalkeeper Ryan Alsop, 29-year-old mega experienced keeper who would probably want to stay in the Championship. Another one with pretty good stats, especially considering the position that Derby have been in this season. He certainly could be a good pickup. I do reckon he would want to stay in the Championship, but it looks like he's already been linked with other Championship teams, so it might be quite difficult to get his signature. Then moving on to our next serious area that needs addressing, right centre-back. Looking abroad, we have Zulte Waregem's right centre-back, Cameron Humphreys, an out-of-contract English player who is abroad, and Lowe mentioned something about bringing English players back in one of the press conferences he did. He's 23 and he has some okay stats for Zulte Waregem in Belgium's first division this season. He was, however, specifically prolific within Manchester City's under-23s from 2016 to 2019. He's young, he's got potential, and I think he would be a very interesting choice. Moving on, we have the out-of-contract Oxford United centre-back Elliot Moore. He's 25 years old, he's scored a goal this season with just 31 starts. He's their captain, a strong leader, with decent stats with tackles and interceptions. I would say that he's a very decent player and probably has very affordable wages. He's probably worth a punt, especially in rotation. Another out-of-contract player is Reading centre-back Tom Holmes. At age 22, he's got plenty of room for growth, and his tackles and interceptions have been pretty good in his 27 starts, also managing to get a goal. He seems to have potential, and obviously that would be a free transfer, so just having to worry about his wages. However, I'm not 100% sure we get him, and even if we did, would he fit into our system? It's definitely something to think about. Our last suggestion for centre-back is another out-of-contract 22-year-old Barnley centre-back Apo Halm. Although he's just had 2 starts this season, that was because he had injury problems. Before that, he had 26 starts with 29 tackles won and 42 interceptions, which are pretty good stats. Obviously, however, being plagued with injuries is a big risk when you're looking at a player, as we saw with Izzy Brown and Connor Wickham, so I'm not sure he's worth the risk, but you never know if we get in a pickle. As we all know, both wing-back positions definitely need bolstering this summer, so let's have a look at the left and start there. This was actually a recommendation from PNE for a potential buy, Barnsley's left wing-back Callum Styles. This 22-year-old has 40 starts with 3 goals and 1 assist. He's also managed to get a lot of tackles and interceptions and crosses into the box. He would be theoretically a great pick, but I'm not sure how much Barnley would want for him. And also, as PNE mentioned in his comment, he is a centre mid who's been translated into a wing back, not an out-and-out right back. So is it worth the risk? Definitely something to think about. Looking abroad again, we have Royal Union SG's wingback Matthew Solona. This 21-year-old came on as a substitute 14 times for Belgium's First Division Championship side. The season before that, he had 34 starts for MK Dons. He's managed to score goals for both and also had very impressive stats while he was at MK Dons. I think he would be a very interesting left wingback to have. He's young, hungry, and being part of a championship winning side can never be a bad thing. Another abroad player is Stuttgart's left back and also plays in midfield, Clinton Mola. A young 21-year-old with 1 start and 3 matches played for the Bundesliga side Stuttgart this season. He was also scoring goals for Chelsea's under-23s when he was just 18. He has a lot of potential, but there's actually not a lot of data on him, so he would be a bit of a risk. However, he did work with Mike Marsh's under-17 England squad, so there is a connection there. Worth the risk? What do you think? Moving back domestically, we've got an out-of-contract Morecambe left-back, Greg Lee. The 27-year-old has a decent amount of experience, starting 33 times this season, scoring 2 goals and getting 4 assists. The rest of his stats are pretty impressive also. He's been pretty class at Morecambe as of late, and he also played under Lowe when Lowe was managing Bury, playing every single game pretty much. So the connection is definitely there, and I think he would be really helpful on that left-hand side, especially in rotation with a younger player. Another out-of-contract player is Derby's Lee Buchanan. A promising 21-year-old has had 24 starts for Derby this season. For his age, he's managed to do pretty well, especially for a Derby team that were at the bottom of the table with a massive point deduction. I think he would be a pretty good potential acquisition, and it would also amuse me greatly to take him from time-wasting Kirchner's Derby. Not sure how likely it would be that we'd get his signature, but I think it's definitely worth looking at. And looking up to the Premier League, we've got Southampton's left-back Jan Valery. This 23-year-old only had 3 starts in the Prem for Southampton this season, coming on for a further 2. Between the ages of 19 and 23, he's actually had 34 starts in the Premier League, scoring 2 and assisting once in that time. He's also been on loan to Birmingham City before last, grabbing 7 matches. He's never been put to the test for a full season, but clearly Southampton do see something in him, but they don't seem to be starting him as of late. So is it worth us having a look? If we can get him on loan, definitely worth having a look, and maybe he'd be quite good with rotation with somebody else, as I've mentioned before. Then moving on to the right hand side, Potts could definitely do with a hand. We do love the big horse, he gets up and down the pitch, but I think he could do with somebody to rotate with him at the very least, especially if they're a right back or a right wing back by definition. Another potential loan we've been linked with is Arsenal's right back Ryan Alabayosu. This 20-year-old has had 6 starts for Crewe Alexandria recently and 10 for Arsenal's under-23s. In that time, he's managed to bag 1 goal and get 5 assists. Another young player with bags of potential but never been put to a full season test. Could we be the ones to give him that chance? Looking elsewhere, we have out-of-contract Gillingham right back Robbie McKenzie. 23-year-old has managed to get 37 starts, 3 goals and 2 assists, as well as some impressive stats in League One this season. A good solid right back with the ability to get up and down the pitch. Young, so still has potential for growth, but I do worry that it might be too much of a step up for him. And to throw in my outside choice, my Hail Mary, my long shot. Could we potentially buy or loan Newcastle's right back Emil Kraft? This 27-year-old only had 18 starts for Newcastle this season and only got 1 assist. However, that was mainly before the takeover. Now with that takeover, Newcastle have stupid money and probably would like to offload some players, and I think that he could do a cracking job for us on the right. Obviously he would be a tough get, and I'm not even sure he's specifically what we're looking for, but with Newcastle spending big next summer, I'm sure they might be looking to offload some players. So it's not completely unreasonable for me to think that he might be up for loan or for sale, maybe even at a discounted price because they just want to get rid. Let's be honest, they're going to bring in world-class players probably and try and push further up the table. I don't know, maybe it was just a shower thought and I thought, might as well have a look at it. Anyway, moving on to our last major position, we need a strike partner for Reece. We have recently been linked with Morecambe striker Cole Stockton. The 28-year-old had 44 starts and scored 23 goals with 3 assists. It's been a great spike in form for the Morecambe man last season, scoring plenty of goals. However, I'm not 100% sure he's who we should be going after, and from what we've seen, he's not a target and it's just agent talk. It looks like we might be looking a bit more ambitiously with our recruitment. Another player we've been linked with is the free agent striker Andre Gray. He's now reached the age of 30 with 13 starts for QPR last season. In those 13 starts, he's managed to score 10 goals and get 1 assist. However, it's been 6 years since its Burnley Championship winning season, scoring 23 goals. However, on the other hand, last season was actually the first time since then he has reached double figures. I'm usually very wary of picking up strikers in this age bracket. With Nugent flashbacks, I'm sure we're all aware that it doesn't always work out. Plus his wages certainly wouldn't be cheap. He would just fill in the space that Scott Sinclair has just left. It's risky, but maybe worth it? Another lad we've been linked with is Cheltenham Town strikers Alfie May. The 28-year-old had 40 starts in League One the last season and scored 23 goals and got 4 assists. He's a very experienced League One striker. He never managed to make the step up, and with an extremely successful season just gone by, it seems like now might be the right time. However, apparently us being linked with him is probably just agent talk, and Lowe would be looking for somebody a bit more ambitious. Also, I'm not entirely sure he's Lowe's kind of striker, but to be fair, only Lowe knows that. Moving abroad once again, we have Porto's striker Danny Loader. The 21-year-old only played 7 minutes this season for Porto, but in those 7 minutes managed to score a goal. Before then he had a few starts for Reading in the Championship and in the Reserves League. During that time he managed to score 14 goals in the Reserve League over 2 seasons. He was another in Mike Marsh's under-17 England squad. He might be worth taking a punt on because he definitely isn't favoured at Porto. But is he good enough for us? Sticking abroad, we have Reims striker Fraser Hornby. The ex-Everton 22-year-old has had 4 starts for Reims in League One. When he did play for Everton's under-23s a few years ago, he scored 9 goals and got 3 assists. He's not got an incredible goal record, definitely not prolific, and he has been linked with us for quite some time. Is he worth taking a punt on and seeing how it goes? Unsure. So moving on, we have another free transfer, Jerome Sinclair. This 25-year-old had 10 starts for the Bulgarian side, CSKA Sofia, scoring 1 goal. During his career, he's also played for Watford in the Premier League in 2016, as well as Sunderland more recently in League One. Not many goals to his name, but he is a free transfer, so you only have to pay his wages. I'm not 100% sure it's worth taking the risk on, but it was worth looking at free transfers because save a bit of cash in theory. And the final option is this Egyptian player. I've heard he's out of contract soon and has a pretty good scoring record. Maybe he's worth taking a punt on. Anyway, what do you think? Any of those players worth taking a risk on? Any that I've missed? There's probably a lot to be looking at. Please do drop them in the comments if you think of anybody. Summer is always an exciting time. The transfer window brings many highs and many lows. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. There's so many videos up and coming. And I'll see you on the town end.